Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. I am back from New York Comic Con and honestly still recovering. If you have ever worked a convention of any sort, you know that it takes a toll on you, both mentally and also physically. Like, I am still exhausted, but I wanted to record this video to show you all some of the things that I've picked up. Some of what I have here on the desk are items that were picked up at New York Comic Con. Some were ordered before the con and they arrived here at the house while I was away. And one is a gift. And honestly, the last thing that I'll be showing you in this video is potentially one of the coolest things that I've received in a very long time. But without any further ado, the very first book that I want to show you is one of the exclusive variants that was made available at New York Comic Con. I saw this one prior to the con. I reached out to Bird City and was like, that is a gorgeous variant. I will see you at the con. It is Zatanna issue number 15. And technically this is a reprint, but it is a really cool cover nonetheless, that I was excited to pick up. And honestly, I've already sold this to somebody else for exactly what I paid. So helping somebody else out that was not able to attend New York Comic Con with a really awesome book that I was planning to keep, but if I can move it on to someone else and make them happy, there you go. So a really cool cover that probably does not show up very well on camera, but it is a cool cover. Trust me when I tell you. This next one is one that I also saw before going to New York Comic Con. I honestly had no intention of picking this up, but the guy, the artist, the creator behind this, came up to our booth at New York Comic Con and gave us a couple of copies. So he actually signed these as well. So pretty cool. But this is Musk versus Zuck. And this is it's just a funny cover. It is just a funny cover. These two, I guess, were talking about fighting. I don't think that it's ever going to happen. But in the audience, there are actually a ton of celebrities. So you have, who's on here? Muhammad Ali, The Rock. You have Stan Lee, Bill Gates. There's a ton of celebrities. Mark Cuban, ton of celebrities down in the audience watching this fight. And of course, the best is Stan Lee down there. But really cool book right there. Next up, this is a book that is potentially a little controversial. And it's controversial because it is AI for Prez. And the creator behind this and Musk versus Zuck actually used artificial intelligence as a tool to create this book. And there are a lot of artists out there that are just anti-AI. Talking with this creator, he's like, hey, I think it's a tool. I used it. I think that there's a way for artists to actually embrace it. And there's a possibility that he's going to be coming on the show to talk a little bit more about his point of view. Again, AI for Prez, join the evolution, it says. So there's potentially a message in that one. These next couple are my comics, right? These are Swoldier publishing comics that I want to show you all. Again, I don't know if they're going to show up very well on camera, but at New York Comic Con, we released issue 1 of Marcus. And so Scott, the writer, was able to, for the very first time, get his hands on his first comic. And that was definitely a special thing. I wished that I had these copies available. These were sent directly to the house, so he has not seen them in person, just on social media. But this is the premium cover for Marcus issue number 1. It is foil on a matte finish, very similar to what we've done for copies of Isolation. But for whatever reason, this one is just really striking. It is striking to me. It is really awesome. I think we have 70 copies of this that were printed. Probably less copies on hand now because we've actually sold a couple. But if you are interested, you can head over to swoldierpublishing.com and pick yourself up Marcus issue number 1, cover 1C, the premium cover. Really awesome book. Speaking of awesome covers, here we go. Isolation issue number 1. This is the exclusive foil, 1 of 4 that were released at New York Comic Con. The printer just did a solid job with this all foil comic. He added some filters to it. And this one is specifically like a sunburst. So there's like these rays that radiate out from the spine across the book. Incredibly well done. We did 40 copies of each one of the covers. and the printer did a little bit of mix and match. He did a couple of different designs, but each one comes with a certificate of authenticity to confirm that there are only 40 copies out there. The next opportunity for anybody to get their hands on this will probably be at GarageCon, which is going down November 11th. And if you are interested in attending, you can head over to RegieCollects.com. There is a ton of information there along with registration, RegieCollects.com. That was Isolation Issue 1. Here is Isolation Issue 2. This is the Mosaic cover. And this cover of number 2 is the one that just grabs me every single time. Again, certificate of authenticity on the backside. GarageCon will be the next available. If there are copies left over after GarageCon, we'll figure out what to do with those. Maybe they'll be offered back up to Patreon members as well, so we'll see. The next 2 books are slabs that I actually bought off of Shortbox. Bought these prior to going to New York Comic Con, and they appeared here after New York Comic Con. So this first one is a really awesome comic. It is a 9.8 of Batman issue number 609. This is the first appearance of Thomas Elliot, who goes on to become Hush. Hush is one of the more popular modern story arcs released by DC, but there is also a rumor that potentially Thomas Elliot, aka Hush, is going to be in the Batman Part 2. I've enjoyed this read, and that's part of the reason why I decided to pick it up. I like the book, I like the story arc, and so this made sense for me. Old school CGC label. I picked this one up for basically right at FMV. There were 2 copies up there. I bid on one. The guy wanted to counter. I made this guy an offer below his asking price. He accepted, and it came with the dope old school label. So can't beat a deal and an old label. This next book is one that I've wanted to buy for a very long time, and honestly, I paid about $40 more than FMV for this one. FMV is a moving target, as we've discussed here on the channel, but about $40 more than FMV, but I really don't care because this book a while ago was going for a lot more money, so $40 is honestly nothing to add an awesome book to my collection. Finally, this is X-Men issue number 58, the first appearance of Havoc in uniform. And I went back and I reread issues 56, 57, 58, 59, and started reading 60 because I picked this book up. I wanted to go back and kind of read into the story arc. And I enjoy the book. I enjoy Havoc as a character. Goes right back to my childhood when I was reading a lot of X Factor, and Havoc was part of that team. I've wanted this book for a long time, and I'm very pleased to finally have it in the collection. And actually, again, for not a terrible price versus where we were a year, 2, 3 years ago. So this very last thing that I'll show you is, again, potentially the best thing that came out of New York Comic Con. And it's really awesome because it was a gift from Beth Charland. Beth is a letterer and artist in her own right, but she does the lettering for Marcus and Isolation. She saw something that I put up on social media and decided to turn it into a piece of art. This is me with my bubble wrap buddy. If you know anything about me, if you know something about me, you might know that I love bubble wrap. If I am sending a slab to someone, I am going to cover that in a blanket of love known as bubble wrap. My goal is to get the book from my house to wherever you are as safely as possible, and bubble wrap is the way to do that. But before New York Comic Con, my wife actually purchased some bubble wrap for me. It came in this massive, like 3.5 foot tall wheel of bubble wrap. And so Beth saw that post on social media and created this. And now what's really crazy is when I came home from New York Comic Con, I showed my wife this art, and she then told me that there was another wheel of bubble wrap that had come while I was away at New York Comic Con. So now I have 2. So just a wonderful piece of art. Beth is an incredibly talented letterer and artist, but she is also a really awesome person. I had a chance to meet her for the very first time. We've worked together for more than a year on Isolation and Now Marcus. Never met. This was the first time, and just a good person. I had a chance to meet her dad as well, so that was really just a fantastic thing for me on a personal level to have done at New York Comic Con. Maybe we'll turn this into a t-shirt. I mean, even though I'm not that swole anymore, I do have photos of me that look that way. So huge shout out to Beth for hooking me up with that piece of art. It really is awesome. So with that said, we're going to wrap this video up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. I wish that I could have shown you more books. I debated getting 2 additional books while I was at New York Comic Con and was just too cheap to pull the trigger. But you never know. You never know what could happen. But I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, I want to encourage you to give the video a thumbs up. And if you want to reach out to me, you can do it on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yo, should you practice art, or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it, not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know, the one that's gonna be a master, the one that's more than a rapper, the one that's an educator, the one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts, he's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan, straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms of pure souls having them conversations, synergy and combination.